Welcome back to Professional Perspectives. I'm Marvakella, joined as always by my co host, Praneeth Vimuri. Over the last decade, we've seen technology reshape nearly every industry. A few spaces have evolved as quickly as fintech and blockchain. From digital payments and decentralized finance to cryptocurrencies and artificial intelligence. Innovation is changing how businesses operate and how people think about money itself. Today's guest has spent more than 15 years helping companies navigate that rapidly changing landscape.
Joining us today is Darius, a fintech and blockchain advisor, entrepreneur, and business development executive. As the CEO of Fintexus and partner at Fintexus and Funded Wise, Darius has advised over more than 200 fintech, blockchain, and Web3 projects around the world. His work spans strategic partnerships, fundraising, licensing, tokenomics, investor relations, and business growth, helping startups and established companies navigate both innovation and regulation in an increasingly digital economy.
What stood out while learning about Darius's career is that he doesn't just help companies launch. He helps them build sustainable businesses, whether it's either raising capital, designing business strategies, or navigating evolving regulations like MiCA. His work sits at the intersection of technology, entrepreneurship, and global finance. Darius, thank you so much for joining us, and for episode number 28 of Professional Perspectives, welcome.
Thank you very much, guys, for inviting me to your show. It's really a pleasure and it's really honor to be here today.
Yeah, of course. To kick off our conversation, growing up in Lithuania, what first sparked your interest in business and technology?
My story is always was like something interesting to tell, and when I'm speaking about it, people normally, like to hear it. So, starting from the early years, when I was little kid, I was so strategic, always was looking around, trying to understand how things works. And I was so passionate to see, how businesses works, how successful people lives their lives. And actually, I decided at some point that I need to be a businessman at some point in my life when I was a young kid, because I wanted always a better life. And my family was like very simple family, and always had this goal actually to help my family, right? So business and help to my family, it always was like very aligned things in my strategy, in my personal life strategy. So my story started from building my own business when I was 21 years old. So basically that was like interesting story because I never had any other experience in business at all. I was never employed in the past. So everything what I did, it was like starting from scratch. No experience, no knowledge, no nothing. So I just started. But the funny story was that I was reading a lot of books for many years when I was a young kid, and I was reading about economics, about business, how it works, and so on. And after some time, I just understood reading one book about the Nike story, Nike company. I'm pretty sure that you're aware about this company, huge brand. I was reading a book about this company, and one sentence hit myself really, really, really hard. And that sentence was just do it. And that moment, I realized that, instead of thinking too much, reading and learning from the books, I actually need to start things. So I called, and that was like Sunday, and I called my potential business partners, and I told them, "Look, guys, I have a business idea. Let's start it tomorrow, because there is no point for us to waste our time anymore on reading books. We know everything more or less already. We have a background, we have basics, knowledge, and everything what we need. Actually, just do it." I even actually created a strategy how we can collect the initial money for the start of a business. So what I did, I actually collected all of them, all the potential shareholders of a company. We went to the register center, we registered the company, actually created the brand name for the company, and we went to the local bank, got the loans, collected all the money we need for some specific period of time to survive actually by building business. And this is how we started. And I remember the story when after we started the company, 2 weeks we had no clients, no nothing, and we were actually depressed that we don't have strategy in place. But you need to have in mind that nobody from us had no experience in business at all. So basically, we had no knowledge how to build a strategy, how to start a business, and suddenly. It was one guy who came to us and he said, "Look, somebody told me what to do, guys, and I feel that we are pretty well aligned. So I have one contractor, which was a very big contractor in Lithuania in telecom industry, and we said that we are looking for subcontractor. Would you like to try? So we started to work on telco companies. Sorry. So we started to work. So we started to work on telco projects, and we implemented around 65 projects, around Lithuania. And that was like a really good business for at least 3 years until the 2007 crisis came up to place. I'm pretty sure that you remember this crisis. It was like global and really massive. So we decided to stop activities and started to work on some other ideas.
Yeah, so connecting to what you're saying, actually, for the 2008 crisis, I wasn't alive yet because I was born in 2010.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I've read a lot about it, and I, of course, can imagine how volatile the market must have been back then. But I definitely agree about what you said about just do it, where it's how you take accountability and you just kind of believe in yourself and you just are spontaneous and you start the initiative instead of waiting and overthinking about it and eventually pushing it off, saying do it tomorrow because there always is going to be a tomorrow. So I really like the idea of doing it as soon as you think about it. And I feel like that's really good advice for our high schoolers listening too. Uh, and now, so like looking back for you, was there like a defining moment that led you to move towards entrepreneurship?
To be honest, this is like down to personality. I believe I meet many people on daily basis, and I discuss with many people, and I'm trying to understand how we think. And the majority of the people, we don't have this like entrepreneur in their hearts, because we like stability. We like to work for somebody else to just get the wage and so on. For me, it wasn't the case. I always was passionate about the idea that I can create something for somebody, just to solve some major problems in the market. I really want to be valuable at the sense. Yes, yeah. So basically, my goal always was, or at least my ultimate goal is to be in the road where I can actually be in the really nice journey, building new stuff for the people. So I feel that everybody, we need to keep something after us. Let's say we need to build something good for the people, and that needs to stay after all. After we will not be here anymore. So this is my ultimate goal. I believe that every single person has its own energy, and that energy needs to be converted somehow into the really good stuff which is needed for our people. And if we are working only for us, it's not going to work in the long term. If we are working for somebody else, let's say for other people, then it's like the meaning of a life, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I definitely agree with your advice. Like, I feel like that's good philosophical advice on life, not just your career path as well. And there was like, I feel like before blockchain became mainstream, you saw a bunch more opportunities in fintech itself. That's why you decided to start this company, like, especially before the crisis and everything, because blockchain is growing, especially now. But you were able to see this earlier. So, what were like some of the main opportunities you saw when trying to create your fintech business?
Maybe if we will come back a bit earlier, my life story, or let's say my experience, was so dynamic, so different. Let's say I didn't start to work in fintech straightforward. It was like some story behind. So I started initially to work for IT business, and later on I moved to fintech, and later on I just started to work with blockchain. And I remember when I saw the first time about this new philosophy of digital money, or let's say, the new concept of philosophy, which tells about, digital assets which belongs to you, nobody can control it. The transactions are completely autonomous. I really felt that this is like the future of the finance, and I never was strong believer in the standard finance. Because I know how the banks works. I don't really feel that it's really good for the people. So I believed in the blockchain. This is what was, let's say, motivating me to start working in blockchain field. And you was completely right that I started from very early days. I started to work with the companies who build some products. The reason why I came to this field, to blockchain itself, because I really trust this new concept of digital money. And I really like this idea that nobody controls your money, just only you. So assets belongs to you. You can control it. and there are no intermediaries. Right now, the situation is changing, and MiCA coming to place as a new regulation in Europe, and so in most of the jurisdictions in Europe, it's already here. So it changed a lot, the whole market itself. But in the meantime, I believe that MiCA is built for one goal, basically to protect the users and investors. Because previously, when I started work in this industry, I noticed that it was so many projects who actually raised millions in exchange of giving the tokens to the people, and those tokens were dumped. So many people lost the money. So I think Mika is really smart thing to have, but in the meantime, Mika creates regulation, which actually is becoming like controlling part in the market. So compared with standard finance and decentralized finance, it becomes very similar stuff, in my opinion. By the concept itself,
Just
it's
to
for the.
interrupt,
Mhm.
just to interrupt you here for a second. So, of course, you're very well versed in the topic, but for our listeners who aren't really sure about Mika or who do not live in Europe, could you just give us a quick breakdown of what Mika is?
Mika, it's a new regulation which says that if somebody wants to make business in crypto space, for example, if we are offering like custodial solutions, for keeping assets somewhere in the wallets, if we are making crypto exchange business, doing crypto exchange business or doing something else related to crypto, when you touch the money of a client, when you move the money of a client or you hold the money of a client, if you do this kind of business, you need to align with MiCA regulation, meaning that you need to have license in place. Previously, it was a little bit different. It was enough for a founder just to have company. In the past, if you wanted to do such a business, all you needed to have to establish the company and get the authorization in your local jurisdiction to do such activity, and that's it. Right now, it changed. Basically, you need to have license to be able to operate in crypto business and support and give some services to the users, or let's say you want to raise the capital. So basically, Mika is saying Mika is structuring rules for the companies in order to protect users or investors. So this is all about it because majority of people actually lost a lot of money in crypto space. So regulations came for that reason, just to prevent the users.
Oh, okay. So that is actually really interesting. And thank you for explaining it for our listeners because I'm sure many of them would have not known what Mika is. But so I wanted to talk a bit more about like blockchain, right? So if you look at Bitcoin's price, it's been really volatile, going up and down, more so from like 2018 with huge spikes and huge falls. And currently it's sitting around 62,000 US dollars, which is the equivalent of what it was in 2021. But it had a peak of 104,000, I think, a few months back. So could you like speak to our listeners about the volatility of crypto and how they can be wary about crypto and if it's like a good decision or like just things to know before they decide to invest in cryptocurrencies?
Yes, what I learned over the years, and I was working a lot with crypto guys, so some of them we've been holding really huge amounts of Bitcoin and other assets, alternative coins. Some of the guys lost money, some of the guys were very wealthy. And what I learned actually that there is one rule, you never need to buy Bitcoin when the Bitcoin is on the top price. So basically, this is the mistake what majority people do. We look to the news that Bitcoin is pumping, and we're starting to buy when it's already too late. So my suggestion would be just to check the charts for at least, I don't know, 5 6 years, and to see how the Bitcoin moved historically. People are supposed to understand that what is like halving cycle, right? So every 4 or 5 years, the market comes to the bear regime, let's say, and later on we're coming back to the bull run. So if somebody is looking for Bitcoin, I think it's important to understand which phase it is now. Is it bear market? Is it bull run? If it's bear market and you have strategic goal to acquire some Bitcoin, you definitely need to look when the Bitcoin drop down. If the Bitcoin is too high in price, then it's not a good decision actually to acquire it, because sooner or later it's going to the price is going to be dropped anyway. So if you want to buy it, buy it when it's cheap. and sell it when it actually expensive.
Yeah, like the motto, buy low, sell high.
Yes, yes, but this is the rule. Probably you've seen so many posts online and social media, or let's say the picture, when there is a huge line standing um, to buy the Bitcoin for a really huge price, and just only a few guys standing in the line to buy the Bitcoin when it's cheap. So, and this is reality, because when people are buying, when we can see advertisement in the internet, somewhere in the social media, that it's time to buy the Bitcoin. When you see so many news about the Bitcoin that it's time to buy, more or less I believe this is too late for you to buy, because somebody has intention to promote it in order to get his own result. So I'm speaking about institutional investors. When is the time for them to sell Bitcoin? We normally starting to do this massive promotion campaigns, so people feeling excited about it, and we starting to jump in again to buy the Bitcoin. And this is the problem, and people are losing money later on, and institutional investors were gaining the profits at the end of the day.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think, a huge part about it is you talked a lot about cryptocurrency, and it is obviously always in the headlines and stuff. But blockchain, I do think, has a lot of many other applications. And which kind of use did you like find most exciting about it besides cryptocurrency as well? Kind of like adding on.
I don't see Bitcoin as a utility. In any utility cases, for example, for me, it looks like Bitcoin became like gold in crypto space, right? This is purely how I can see it. So you can just buy it and hold it, and this is how you're getting to be rich sooner or later at some point in the future. But I would speak about other currencies, about other major currencies, cryptocurrencies in the market, who have real use cases. So, for example, um, optimism. So basically, those tokens will be used for the transactions, which are really cheap. You can do the cross-border transactions. So this is the real use case for, in my understanding. But Bitcoin I consider as a gold which needs to be bought, and actually you need to hold it, for some period of time to be able to earn money from it. But in the meantime, I could tell that I don't see that Bitcoin is going to be. I don't see that price of Bitcoin is going to be increased massively in the early future, because those times when all the rush was happening 3 years or 4 years ago, that was like the major time frame when you could actually make the biggest amount of money, or biggest amount of profit out of it. Right now, the market is becoming more and more stable, so volatility is going to be decreased as we go, further, in the future. So if the volatility will be decreased, basically the price will remain more stable.
Yeah, so for our next question, of course, you've started so many ventures and you're part of so many companies and so many initiatives. Could you talk a bit about Fintexus and like what you do, what's its mission, and how you started it, and kind of the whole story behind it for our listeners?
Yeah, so Fintexus, it became as a group of brands. When we started to work only with fintech companies. So our main goal was to help companies who wants to get e-money institution licenses. So first of all, because it was like boom when so many neobanks were established in the market. So for them to operate, we needed to get the licenses. Also, some of the guys who wanted to offer payment cards, banking accounts, payments to the customers, we either had a couple of choices: to build their own solution, or to use white label solution, which is already created, and we can start using it immediately after implementation. So our goal was to connect people, the guys who are looking for solutions and the guys who are offering the solutions in the market. So we acted as a middleman at the beginning. When we moved to the crypto space, things were more interesting, let's say, because we started to work with the startups who were who they're inventing new ideas, like unique ideas, some use cases for the crypto space. And we started to advise them, because me as a person, I'm always learning really fast. So if I see something interesting, I'm going deeper and deeper into that field and to that topic, and I'm learning things fast. And I noticed that there are many people who actually have ideas, but we don't know how to perform, how to do business, how to start it. So we started to help them, to explain what needs to be done in order for you guys to, to launch a project itself. What we need to do, what we need to know in order to implement the solutions, how technology works, how the business model can work, what utility cases we can offer. So we were always like advisors for the customer from A to Z to explain how to structure all the business. And that was really amazing time. When we spoke with some of our clients we got in the past, we said, look guys, I see that you are really smart guys. You are very strong on business development. Can you help us also with investors? So this is where we actually moved to the capital raise and fundraising field, and we were very successful at this point. So in my network, I have a really huge amount of people who were previously investing a lot in venture capital field. Not venture, sorry. Uh, in my network, I have at least more than 1,000 investors who were investing in crypto space. So for me, it was easy to help my clients to connect with the right people, because I understood the strategies of those venture capitals or other, investors. And I actually connected, my clients, startup founders with those investors. And this is how we actually brought a lot of value to the customers because we had a capital to grow their businesses and develop their businesses forward.
Yeah, that's actually insane. Like having that many investors being able to be like at your hand. Obviously, you have so much experience with all these investors and how to make a successful pitch. So, in your opinion, like what is one thing that makes a pitch really stand out and like really captivates the investor in your experience?
Yeah, I really love one idea which one of my guests and founders in Chained told me, and I agree with that 100%. If you want to be successful with a pitch, first of all, you need to focus on one problem and one solution because you can see a lot of founders who are presenting their project, and after all, investors have no idea what it was, what it was actually, because we say that we have so many solutions for so many problems, but in business, if you are focused in many problems and many solutions, you will not perform very well. So you need to be very focused on one problem with one solution. And I think this is the key item. Another thing is when you produce your pitch deck, you need to be super clear, and you need to explain your idea in super fast way and super efficient way. Believe me or not, throughout my hands, it went through like, I don't want to sound like so massive, but believe me, it was thousands of pitch deck what I seen. And I already gained the skill actually to evaluate deal in a couple of minutes already because I can see the pitch deck and I can tell you straightforward, is it going to be well in front in the eyes of investors, or it's going to be bad. And I can tell you immediately my feedback, and it will be 100% right feedback. The thing is, the guys who are making so complex pitch decks were not going to succeed because nobody wants to waste the time. You need to keep in mind that investors will receive hundreds of pitch decks every single week. So for analysts to analyze a pitch deck, it takes time. So we learned how to filter out the pitch decks immediately. So for example, if we see some nuances we don't like, we just basically not spending their time anymore. So everybody in this market trying to save trying to save valuable time, and nobody will going to waste their own time. So if you will get really good qualitative material to check out, more or less you're going to spend some time. But if you will get some random generic pitch deck which cannot explain in a couple of slides, what you actually guys do, nobody going to spend more time on watching other slides. So this is I think critical to understand. It's simple, but it's actually very important point.
Yeah, no, for sure. Even in the ventures I do, I've had to often make pitch decks, and I feel like this is actually really good advice for people who are founding. And to talk more about that advice part, right? So, say there's a high schooler, because that's the majority of our audience who wants to start some initiative, or maybe like a company. And like, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a high schooler who usually doesn't have much access to the traditional funding routes because of age barriers, what would your piece of advice be for them to help succeed in their initiative or their business or whatever they're starting?
So first of all, before you start do anything, you have so many good tools in place right now, especially now. Previously, you needed to spend a lot of time on the analysis of a market. Is your product or idea is going to have market fit in the market, right? So right now you have ChatGPT, Copilot. I don't know. Use any of those AI and ask basically to perform some market analysis on your idea and just to check how many competition you have. Is it really solving a real life problem, or is it just only your imaginary problem? And if you will answer this question, you will understand how market is how big. So you will understand how market. So you will understand how big is your market, and then you can understand, if you have, let's say, five competitors, how you're going to share this market with those competitors, how big it is. So if you are a person who not necessarily have experience but you have good idea, so first thing what I should recommend you, basically to spend some time on the market analysis itself, or at least to think about your idea. Is it real? Is it real solution for the real problem, or is it the only solution for the imaginary problem? Because so many founders will think that their idea is awesome and unique and so on, but it needs to be make sense, right? So with all the tools what you have right now in the market, like AI tools, you can perform really quick analysis of a market to see is that your idea is going to have market fit. And this is, so important to do. You need to validate your idea before you even start spending your time and efforts on building the product. And what is the reality here right now? I can see, working with multiple founders, we first building the product and then checking is it going to have market fit. And this is a major mistake. I'm not saying that you don't need to do things, as I said previously in my story, that you need to do it. You need to stop overthinking things. You need just start doing this, but before that, some certain analysis needs to be done.
Yeah, totally. So you're saying more so to kind of like either create like a total addressable market model or just kind of assess the total reach that your product can get before you start it, right?
Yes, and only my recommendation, and it always worked for me. When you
Mm-hmm.
have idea, you don't need to be afraid to speak with people, because some of the guys we see, oh, if I will tell this idea to somebody else, somebody will steal it.
Yeah.
No, it's not the case, because you need to keep in mind that there are many people globally who are basically who are capable to perform and build something, and there are people who basically just enjoy being stable somewhere, a stable life somewhere, working and be employed. So in my experience, just only small percentage of people potentially could steal your idea. So you need to speak with other people and get the feedback. And it helps a lot. If you will speak with random 20, 30 people around you in your environment, and you will explain your idea, you will get really, really nice feedbacks from them. Some of them might be negative, some of them might be positive, but it will give you the feeling, at least, or sense, how does it looks like for other people, because you are building for other people. So if people don't like this idea, nobody going to buy it. So if people will be positive on this, that is good actually flag for you to start your business. You know what I mean? So basically, don't be afraid to speak with people, and I think this is where you need to spend your time before you even start anything.
No, I just really like. I just wanted to say, yeah, I really like that idea about how you were talking about like the pitching and everything. I just like it's really I can really see how much experience you have through all these investment pitches that you go through and like all the slide decks and everything.
I really liked the fact that you said, don't worry about people stealing your idea. Because I feel like, especially because we mainly uh, cater to to a high school audience, right? Uh, in like the whole college admission process too, there is like a lot of competitiveness and a lot of the idea of like, oh my, if I share something with them, they might steal it, and then that might come back to haunt me later, either in the college admission process or something like that. And that does create like a lot of toxicity, and that was the perspective I was looking at it. But I really like the way where you framed it, where you said but you're kind of keeping yourself in a vulnerable state where you can't really move forward just simply because of the fact that you're not going through with your idea. You're not making those connections. You're not networking with people to ask about your idea just because you're scared that someone might steal it. So I just wanted to point that out and say that it was a really good point, and I just
Yeah.
wanted to note it too.
But in the meantime, don't speak with your family about your idea, because families are going to support you a lot, right? So we're going to tell you, yes, it's a good idea, do it, because we want to encourage you to start something, right? Because you are a part of a family. So I would recommend you to go to the people who you not necessarily, maybe you don't know them, and some random people. And those random people, we don't know you, we don't care about you, and we will tell you straightforward what we think. And this is the most valuable feedback. And to speak with 30 people, it's not taking too long. I mean, just find some people in your community, I don't know, some neighbors, and just have a little talk of 5 minutes, or how long it will take for you to speak with all those people. Just, I don't know, 1 hour maximum. So but that will give you really good feedback. I know that it's disappointing when you have idea and going to people, and somebody saying that there is no point for you to start it because there is no sense. I know that it's hard sometimes, but believe me, sometimes not doing, bad ideas, I mean, not building on bad ideas, it's saving you a lot of time and effort. But in the meantime, you, of course, you can do it anyway, because you still will learn a lot of things as you go and do this, even if it will be failure. I'm not saying that failure is failure. Failure is basically a lesson, and especially for the youngsters. When you fail, this is the place where you learn a lot of things. And sooner or later in the future, you're going to use this knowledge and you will be better. So, whereas multiple angles how you can look at this, but if you really want to be efficient on your time management, and you don't want to waste your time on some things which is not going to work, then of course you need to be smart. And then my recommendation would be just to speak with as many people to get the really proper feedback. Is it worth to do this project?
Yeah, that's actually great advice. I like how you said how failure is not the end. And I think that's so important for many young people to hear, how even if they fail once, twice, even three times, it's not the end and they still have to keep on trying. I really like that piece of advice. I think all our listeners can take that
Yeah.
home today with them.
Yeah.
And for kind of like closing out the episode, our final question is, we like to ask it to all our guests, but what kind of impact would you like to leave on the world, especially of technology and entrepreneurship, in the next like 5-10 years?
As I said, my ultimate goal is basically to create something big, right? uh, when I'm looking to Elon Musk, I will never be Elon Musk, but more or less, I maybe can be successful entrepreneur, which will build some kind of solution for the masses. At least my ultimate goal is basically to build something which will solve many problems for many people, and this is my ultimate goal. Unfortunately, until now, my all the businesses was a little bit limited, because let's say I'm running this consultancy business. So when you do this consultancy business, it's impossible for you actually to scale the business so much, just because you don't have product in place. You're just only offering services and you are limited. So my goal would be to build a product finally, and the guys who wants to scale their businesses, I also would like to recommend to consider building products instead of services, because products, this is how you can scale a business. You can sell a lot of, if you target a really global market, if you have good product which solves problems, then you can actually scale the business in that sense, because you can do a lot of sales and get the revenue out of it. When you offer something like consultancy business, you always will be limited. So, by having a chance, I would like to promote my Founders Unchained channel. This is the channel where I invite people with a multiple expertise. So, with those guys who are coming to my shows are investors, founders, and other experts, and they are sharing real life experiences, what it takes to build startup from scratch. So, for your community, it might resonate a lot. And I really would like to promote this. And if you can join my YouTube channel just to check out, I'm pretty sure that you will find really good content also too.
Darius, thank you so much for joining us today. This conversation reminds us that while technology continues to evolve, the foundations of successful businesses remain the same: strong leadership, thoughtful strategy, and a willingness to keep learning in a constantly changing world.
What stood out most to me is your ability to bridge innovation with practical execution. Whether you're helping startups navigate fundraising, guiding blockchain projects through regulation, or even mentoring founders, your work demonstrates that lasting success comes from building with purpose rather than just chasing trends.
Thank you again for sharing your experiences and insights with us. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on episode number 28 of Professional Perspectives. We hope today's conversation encourages you to embrace innovation, stay curious, and remember that some of the greatest opportunities come from solving problems that others haven't even recognized yet. Until next time, thank you so much for listening and keep on exploring your professional perspectives.